Hello and welcome to TNWKS, the Now We Know show, the show where we discuss a topic of interest and by the end we will have learned something new and hopefully you will too. I'm Zach.
And I'm Buzz, and this week's topic of interest is Comic-Con!
Comic-Con, MCM Comic-Con that was held in London over the weekend.
At the ExCel Centre, yeah?
Yes, that's correct.
Excellent. And that's what we're talking about today.
If you enjoy the Now We Know show podcast, support Zak Wylde Productions on Patreon or join our members on YouTube for early access, ad-free content and exclusive episodes. So we're talking all about our experiences at Comic-Con. Where should we start?
Well, I think we should start at the very beginning, and that is you booked the tickets online.
Yes.
And we decided to go for a day.
For a day. Just the general ticket on the Saturday.
Yeah, general ticket. Now, this was going to be a new experience for me because... Well, let's first say it wasn't just you and I, Zach. Jack can't be in the studio tonight.
Unfortunately,
but he came along.
Yep.
And so did Tina.
Yes.
So there was four of us.
Yes.
Merry foursome.
Merry band on our way to Comic-Con.
But for me, it was a new experience.
Really?
Because
okay.
I've never been to a Comic-Con where I haven't been the opposite side of the fence.
Oh,
when I've been to
so?
Comic-Cons, it's because I've been helping out people that are actually... displaying there.
Yeah, kind of traders and market stall holders and things.
I've been there. So I've been to places like Cygnus Alpha, which is predominantly, obviously, at Blake 7 Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And I was helping out Johnny Who Entertainments there.
But I would say most of your experience kind of is a lot smaller Comic-Cons.
You say that, but we did do ExCel before.
We did. Crikey, that's going back a bit, isn't it?
For those people who have heard of the name Keith Barnfather.
For real-time pictures.
He does all the sort of behind-the-scenes Doctor Who DVDs, etc.
Bits and bobs.
Blake 7 as well, funnily
enough.
And it was because of Blake 7, he asked us to go down there, dress up as a couple of Federation guards, help out on the stand with the original cast of the TV show, along with our best buddy, Brian Croucher.
Yes, he did make an appearance on this podcast.
Yeah, Brian's already done a podcast with us, and we've met him a few times, and he's a great bloke. And we also went up onto the main stage for the big Q&A.
Oh, that was a really, really cool experience.
So we basically escorted.
It was like a procession almost of the cast.
So each cast member,
Blake 7,
we led them onto stage between two Federation guards, and then basically spent all our time on the stage while they were doing.
Do you remember
Q&A.
when we had to do the handouts of the free DVDs for the people that asked questions?
You did.
I had to run around dressed as a Federation soldier from Blake 7,
That's right.
handing out free DVDs. That was really interesting. I did not wake up that morning expecting to have to do that.
No. So the point is, I've done Comic-Cons, but I've never done it from the perspective of somebody who's paying to go there.
Yeah.
And so this was a whole new experience for me.
Well, would you consider that being a cosplayer because you did dress up?
Yeah. Well, that was the caveat that you said. If we're going, we've got to dress up.
Yeah.
So I dressed up as a Jedi Master, okay, with my Jedi outfit and looked the part. Well, at least I hope I looked the part.
Yeah, you did. You look very Obi-Wan, but without the hair.
And then you dressed up as more of a kind of...
Padawan, Anakin Skywalker kind of look, yeah.
Walker, yeah. All in black.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Tina dressed up as a rebel from the Rebel Alliance.
Resistance fighter, actually.
A resistance fighter.
Because she was in the new movies.
Yeah, so in fact, she kind of cobbled together a costume that was very kind of similar to the costume she wore when she was filming on...
we're testing your memory now. Which one? Go on. Star Wars? That's the clue.
Yeah, I can't remember what the...
Episode...
Well, it's the one before I did. My one.
It is the one before Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I did Rise of Skywalker, and she did... I don't know.
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. So
Episode 8.
She was a rebel in that base.
Resistance fighter.
Oh, sorry. A resistance fighter in the base on that planet called whatever.
Crate,
and where they sort of basically reenacted the...
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back on Hoth.
Yeah.
Reenactment. So she went with that. And then Jack, who we kind of we're kind of guessing what Jack was
We
coming as.
did hold a bet, didn't we, as to whether or not he was going to come dressed up.
And we hoped he was going to come as Chewbacca.
Yes, he did say he had a Chewie onesie.
Yeah, but then it turned out his Chewie onesie was when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't fit. So he kind of came as a Japanese schoolboy, didn't he?
It did look like that, yeah.
I don't think
It wasn't deliberate.
it was deliberate, but because he had his little white trainers on.
Yeah, it was very colour coordinated, wasn't
white trainers, white little ankle socks, white shorts, and a white top with a little backpack. It looked like he'd just come out of his local, what was it, Japanese sweet shop.
Dagashia.
A Dagashia with a backpack full
well,
of
you
nice
say
Japanese snacks.
that was very fitting with the actual Comic-Con because it was a very anime and cartoon-based.
That was actually where I was going with this. There were so many sort of Japanese style costumes and
stalls.
Yeah, and stalls that actually it kind of fitted in. I know Jack didn't really actually dress up as a Japanese schoolboy, but it fitted.
Yeah,
it
was in keeping with the aesthetic.
So yeah,
it's really interesting because I did actually have a conversation this morning with a colleague at work about this because he actually went to Comic-Con the same day as us.
Oh right.
And I only found this out afterwards this morning, and he kind of noticed that there was a distinct, large part of the actual Comic-Con was dedicated to this anime stuff. But he kind of found it kind of hard to kind of get in tune with because you don't entirely know.
I was going to say that myself because although I'm familiar with anime, and the whole concept of it and the artwork of it.
Oh yeah, and you can appreciate it. Yeah.
You see on social media loads of people dressing up as different characters.
Like Studio Ghibli, Akira, they were recommended.
But there were so many stands there that I just thought, well, I don't really know.
They had racks and racks and racks of Blu-rays, DVDs, whatever, merchandise, and I was like, I don't even know what this is.
But then again, I suppose it depends if you're really into a particular genre. Let's face it, if you're into Blake 7, a lot of other people would go, well, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's probably at the moment very niche British sci-fi series.
So there we were. I was excited to go to Comic-Con and walk through the door because normally I'm parked underneath and going in the tradesman's entrance and not paying to get in because I'm working there. This time, front of house as a member of the public.
You actually get to have a big look around.
Yeah, because I think...
And you're not restricted or bound by any kind of timeline of you have to be handed out things or being in any places.
I suppose that's thinking in previous cons that we've been to, it's really been a case of you spend most of your time focused on what you're doing and then you might have a little lunch break, but you don't have enough time to really take in anything.
Whereas this time, we could purely walk around, see all the sites, take our time, try and find our way through the masses, because that is one thing that I must say. Well, it was packed.
Right. So
it was like a sea of people.
Let's take that back a little bit. Okay. I've got to say, I was excited, and by the end of the day, I was really pleased that I'd done it.
Yes.
But we need to go on that journey.
Okay.
So we drove to the nearest underground station to us, which is High Barnet.
Yep.
And got on a train. So we parked up and then we walked to the station.
Well, we got dressed up.
Yeah,
we drove there.
Costumes.
We're in our costumes.
We got out the car, walked to the station.
Sorted out the tickets.
Got a few odd looks.
I must say that, considering how we normally plan things, the journey on the tube was kind of very improvisational. It kind of felt very improvisational this time.
Well, normally when we're going into London, we've already pre-planned our journey because we're filming or something.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing, because we were walking from where we parked to the station and we're in full Jedi outfit.
I mean, there's no pockets.
No, there's no pockets.
It's really difficult.
I actually stuck a pouch on.
I kind of had a satchel, didn't I?
Yeah, you had like a little satchel. It was black and went with your costume. So yeah, we got by on that, and so, but the thing was, walking to the station, I didn't even think about the fact that I was in costume.
No.
Because I'm so used to doing films and TV in costume that I don't even give it a second thought.
Yeah.
So it's not.
That's kind of a very unique kind of perspective, isn't it?
I mean, when it comes to most normal people, but normal circumstance, when people might have the opportunity to put a costume on,
it
is, or it was, were having a fancy dress party. So people would go to fancy dress, and you'd always get people that would turn up to a fancy dress party not in fancy dress because they're too embarrassed to wear fancy dress. Whereas we've had so many years of
dressing up in all these weird and wonderful things.
Movies are taking on the persona of different characters and different creatures and things like that. It's just like, no skin off my nose to dress up as a Jedi and walk down the street.
I mean, we had the costumes.
So anyway, we went to High Barnet Station, got on the platform, and we were standing there going, right, let's decide where we're going.
Yeah, which train do we have to get on? I'm not quite sure. Let's figure it out.
And then, like, bing! Another cosplayer.
Da, 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 da.
Carrying their armour.
Yep.
Sword.
I was like, hang on a second. There's somebody that might know where to go.
Yeah. So we got chatting. Lovely cosplayer whose character name is Orm.
Yes, and I believe the Instagram person's name was Trig the Fox.
Trig the Fox. Hiya, Trig the Fox.
Hi, Trig the Fox.
So flash up a photograph of Trig
I will.
And absolutely wonderful cosplayer.
Yes.
And turns out they'd already been there the day before. And on the Friday, we were told that it was a lot calmer.
Right.
Well, it was obviously busy when we got through the train journey. Yeah. But it was really nice to be on that train with a fellow cosplayer from the start.
Well, the thing is, we got chatting. We mentioned the podcast.
You know,
said what we were up to. There we are.
And Orm took us through all the costume that they'd made.
Yeah, I believe it was to do with Critical Role, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, and sort of like it was very foresty. It was green with embossed leaves. Actually, I think there were three leaves on top of the armor.
From what I recall, I believe it may have something to do with the Legend of Vox Machina, which is kind of like an animated series of Dungeons and Dragons based on Critical Role.
Great little outfit and great cosplayer. And so we were guided sort of on our journey.
Yeah.
And Orm became our official sort of guide to take us there.
Well, for the beginning. Yeah.
So we got down to Tottenham Court Road from High Barnet and then switched over to the new Victoria line.
Well,
Elizabeth line.
Well, wait a second. You've missed something.
Did I?
So I think it was a couple of stops in.
Yep.
We also met somebody else.
Did we?
We did. We met Libby.
Oh yes, no. Libby was on the was on the Elizabeth line.
Oh crap!
See, you're jumping.
I'm jumping. Please forgive me.
So we got down there, Tottenham Court Road. That's where we switched to the Elizabeth line, which is all new. Do you remember?
Yeah.
It was when we came out from Tottenham Court Road and we were walking through to the Elizabeth line.
Yeah.
It suddenly became all Star Warsy. Because it all looked new and futuristic.
Yeah, you got those doors to
like,
kind of get on the train.
Yeah, so you could
guiding the tracks. Yeah.
So you could like use your Jedi force.
Oh, we had to.
And just the doors would open before us.
Yes.
You know? But the other thing is when we got to there, then you started to notice other cosplayers.
It's kind of like a cloud of like people dressed up, kind of slowly gathering together.
Yeah. So we got on this. I got on the train to go down to ExCel.
Yeah.
And that's when we had a lovely little lady next to us.
Yeah.
Who suddenly slipped into. She was wearing Muggle clothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
bit of a clue there as to what she was dressed as.
So we weren't really talking to her. We were just talking amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
And Orm, and then suddenly I turned around and she's suddenly got Gryffindor, Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Robes on.
Yeah. I was like, hang on a second.
You've suddenly come from Hogwarts.
Yeah.
And that's when we met Libby.
Yes.
And another lovely cosplayer.
Wonderful person.
And it turns out that she actually works
at Warner Brothers, the Harry Potter World Studio Tour. Yeah.
Studio Tour, which was immediately, an
interesting connection. Yeah.
By Jack, because Jack works for Warner Brothers
on the opposite side of the fence.
His studio side.
Yes.
Turns out they both use the same canteen.
Yeah. Small world.
And because she's obviously so much into Harry Potter.
Yeah. I believe she was actually an interactor, so she talks to people about Harry Potter all the time.
And so we had to obviously tell her that you actually are the third actor to play.
Yes, I was the third actor to portray Aberforth Dumbledore. Now, you may be asking,
hang on,
he looks a bit young to be Aberforth Dumbledore. Come on.
Yeah.
But in Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, they did film scenes featuring the teenage version of Aberforth Dumbledore and the Dumbledore family.
Yeah, that's Ariana, the daughter.
Yep.
And the
mum, Kendra Dumbledore, and the father.
Yeah.
And the scene...
Percival.
Yes. Anyway, so I was there for the filming of that, but unfortunately it was a alternate/deleted scene that never actually made it to the final cut of the film. But somewhere in the wizarding world, shall we say, the footage
probably does
exists
well,
somewhere.
You also did the moving photographs as well.
That is very true. I had to go into Warner Brothers, do all that
so we kind of
extra photography.
We kind of
things.
expected the family photograph to maybe turn up in an album or be on Dumbledore's desk or something.
Yeah.
But again, we never saw it.
But in the actual film, you do see the scene, but it was the version of the scene they actually went for was when Jude Law, playing Albus Dumbledore, obviously, was looking into that mirror. What's the name of the mirror?
Oh, it's begins with an E.
E.
Somebody would comment on it.
Yeah, please comment the name of the mirror that you kind of see things.
I'm not going to Google it.
Erised?
It sounds like Erised.
Yeah.
It's the mirror of Erised.
He sees Grindelwald in that scene.
In that scene.
Whereas in the alternate/deleted version, he actually sees his family.
That's what was hinted at by J.K. Rowling herself. Said that was you see in it what you most desire, and that changes through your life, and that Dumbledore at that time, because of the conflict with his family and everything, what he was seeing in the mirror was a happy family. Yes. All happy together.
That was very true.
Which is
very
what
true.
he really wanted. But instead they switched it to Grindelwald. Anyway, so Libby actually got to meet Aberforth Dumbledore.
Who's me? Yes.
On the train. And our journey continued, and we ended up at the last station.
Yes.
So, and got off at ExCel.
Yes.
By that time...
The masses had formed.
Yes. And Orm was telling us, this is a lot busier than it was yesterday. But we followed our trusty guide.
Yeah.
And they took us up the stairs.
It was kind of like a river of people.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it.
But I've got to say, right from the beginning, the atmosphere was electric. You know,
buzzing.
And it was a really positive... You know,
the community.
Everybody was just so smiling,
happy
and nice.
Yeah,
I've got to say,
wonderful to be a part of.
I was soaking that up immediately.
Yes.
Because you can be on train journeys.
You felt happy to be there.
Yeah, because you can be on train journeys with your normal everyday thing. Nobody talks to each other.
You get odd looks anyway. But
but it was already starting to get exciting.
Yes.
You know,
it's like, when are we going to get in? When are we going to get in? We've got to get the tickets.
We followed our guide up and across gantry and the things, and then they had loads of staff there helping to direct everybody, and then we went down this big old... We had literally walked from one end of the ExCel Centre to the other end, didn't we? On the outside of the ExCel Centre, and then enter in to a big, I don't know what sort of
entrance hall.
Yeah, it was a cool entrance hall. It was a massive warehouse.
Yeah.
With a Dalek.
Yeah, running around.
A Dalek.
There are actually a few of those running around.
I think I saw 3 drive past at one point.
Did you see the movie Daleks?
No, because, again, as we go on through the podcast, I didn't get to see everything because there was so much and so many people.
Yeah.
But the throng, they'd kind of done it a bit like going to a theme park where you sort of go down a line and then you go round a barrier and round a barrier and round a barrier.
But one thing is noticeable. The way they had laid it out it was very fast flowing.
Oh, it was a real good flow.
So it was never you were never standing there.
Which
was great.
You know, we just kept on walking basically. Yeah. Even though it was backwards, forwards. And the thing was, going backwards, forwards, you were going like hello to people you'd just gone past.
Yeah, because I think at one point we did get separated from Orm.
Yeah, Orm ended up, for some reason, Orm was behind us.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sure you were in front of us. How did it happen? I don't know.
No idea. But we all caught up with each other.
Yeah, we kind of tried to stay as a group.
Yeah. Until we got in there at least. And then, so then we got to the security bit. Mm-hmm. So they check your bags on the way through. Now, that was one of the things on the way down there we weren't quite sure about because we've been to other events.
I've had this experience, yes.
What do you want to explain it?
So we went to the London Film and Comic-Con at the Olympia Centre, which is kind of a more kind of film-based Comic-Con with lots of film merchandise and things like that. So it doesn't focus so much on the anime side of things.
Right,
And when we got there, it was bag search, but very like thorough bag search. And it was like, oh yeah, don't worry, I've just got some sandwiches and a drink in there. And they were a bit iffy about the drink.
Right, so if it was open...
If it was open, it had to be like a sealed drink, and thankfully it was, so I got to keep it.
Right,
but it was very interesting.
Well, I've been to martial arts conventions before where I've actually taken a drink with me and they've confiscated it, wouldn't let you in.
Crikey.
Yeah, so, and then you kind of like subject then to being a captured audience.
And again, at the Olympia, it was the fact that we had to walk through metal detectors as well, so it was very thorough.
Yeah, so this one was easy going.
And then I didn't, again, sorry, I'm just talking about stuff, but I found, by comparison, the kind of weapons checks, if you will, not really a weapons check, but kind of the cosplay weapons check was a lot more kind of thorough at the Olympia as well. A lot more thorough.
Is that a good thing or bad thing?
To be honest, I was actually really surprised how kind of, I don't want to say lax, but kind of easygoing the ExCel was on that front.
Well, I think it was easy, maybe because it was easygoing. I don't necessarily think that's a negative.
No.
Certainly a big bonus for those people attending because you weren't getting held up.
Yeah, because I know that a lot of the time there's kind of certain restrictions and things, or if you've got a prop gun, it's got to have like orange tips and things. Whereas I'm sure we saw a Batman.
Oh yeah, there was a Batman there
who had this blooming like photorealistic
gun. That did not have an orange tip.
No.
Excellent cosplay. Though.
I mean, it was the Nightmare Batman from Batman vs Superman.
He was awesome. I don't know who that gentleman was, but
it was Bruce Wayne.
If you listen, Bruce Wayne. Shh! Don't tell everybody.
Oh, shucks.
So if you're listening in, superb costume, my friend. And then of course we had to get our tickets, which again, lots of lanes. Didn't take any time at all.
No, it was just a scan of a QR code. Boom, boom, done.
Give you a ticket, slap it on a lanyard.
But that was the thing. The tickets were so cool. They're like made of card.
Well, they were laminated. It's like plastic, weren't they?
They were like kind of credit card type of things.
Yeah, a bit bigger than a credit card even. But they had QR code on there for the events and everything, which I didn't realise until after we left.
No, it had all the opening times as well. And I was like, oh, okay.
I didn't even realise that was on
We
there.
were so consumed by the entire atmosphere.
Yeah. So anyway, but got in. Let's say from start to finish, you're getting off the train and getting into there. Although there was a bit of walking involved.
That was the thing. Everyone I've talked to about this is saying that everyone got their step counts in. Like 21,000 steps. It was amazing. It's like, I really want to get my fitness tracker working again.
I will say one point. I did notice that on the security, they were spotting people with walking sticks and other things. I mean, obviously, if somebody's in an electric wheelchair or something, but people with walking sticks, they were shortcutting them through.
Oh yeah, there were some people with some crutches. Yeah,
and they were just like, oh no, you don't have to walk all the way around. And I thought that was really good.
Definitely.
That they were grabbing people and literally say, go on, straight through.
Well, they weren't grabbing them; they were kind of gesturing, guiding. Yeah, guiding. We'll go with guiding.
And so we got in there.
Yes. Oh my God, we're through the door. That was the crazy thing, right? Because it's such a large building. I thought we were going into like this warehouse. That's what you described it as.
Well, we were,
yeah. And then finally getting there and out of it, I thought we were actually stepping outside. Right. But no, there was this big kind of dome that was like lit from the outside. And I was like, whoa, it's an even bigger building.
Yeah, so it's like straight down the central corridor of the ExCel has got all like the food halls
like
down the side.
The permanent things.
And then the left and right side are just the big exhibition halls.
Yeah.
It was like when we went to the NEC Birmingham and we were helping out there.
Oh yeah, the Birmingham Con.
And we went in through the back doors to get in there, and that just did seem like just big exhibition halls.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not sure how much we actually explored that.
What, at the NEC?
Yeah.
Well,
I know we explored the kind of the big main hall we were actually based in.
But it was like the ExCel.
It went on and on and on.
So we thought, what should we do? Because, I mean, it was packed.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking thousands.
Thousands. Like, everyone was very, very friendly.
That was one of the things that I haven't had time before to really get involved with, was the people. And everybody was just so happy and nice. It was an absolute pleasure. You could just talk to anybody. At one point, I needed to go for a wee.
Yeah.
So I went down to the toilets, waiting outside. The guy opens the loo. I'm going to go in the cubicle, and it's like, wow, that's a really cool costume you've got on there.
I'm sure I tried to use the Force at one point, and somebody was like, "Aha!"
And it's like, I've never had that said to me.
Like every single Jedi or Star Wars person was always bumping into all the people, and they're all being extremely friendly.
Good day to you, Jedi Master. I kept getting.
I'd go, "Hello there."
Hello there. May the Force be with you.
I got a few General Kenobis.
Yeah. And it was also nice because I literally stepped onto the hallowed ground of the ExCel Comic-Con, and it wasn't long before people were stopping me and saying, "Can I have your photograph?
Yeah. Brilliant.
This is
what a
great.
Fantastic experience.
So, and I'm used to having my photo taken, but it was kind of like, that's because normally I'm one of the exhibition, if you know what I mean. So it was kind of weird being a member of the public, but still being stopped. Anyhow, we decided we'd do this kind of
methodically
and with logic.
Yeah.
So we thought what we'd do is, because we'd entered at one end, we'd walk right to the far end.
Yeah.
On the way, check out where the toilets are. Always a good thing. Check out all the food places.
Yep.
See what it's about. And then we'd start in one hall on one side and literally zigzag
it all the way
down, and then cross over to the next hall. And that lasted for about 15 minutes before we completely lost it.
Well, that was the thing, because you thought it was like consecutive rows of
then they were
stall holders and things, but then you'd have like interactive bits.
Yeah.
With there was that Taunton and there was that Dalek place.
I didn't even get to see those bits. But
How did you not see those?
I don't know. I think I saw the Taunton from a distance.
I'll have to put a picture
I know
up.
I ended up in a place where there was like hundreds of free consoles so you could play.
Oh, that was the opposite hall, wasn't it?
Right.
That was kind of the hall that was based more around the kind of gaming and stuff like that.
So I decided, because obviously we were down there with in mind that we were going to be doing this podcast as a review of our
We kind of really wanted to kind of immerse ourselves within.
Yes,
the
so
area.
I thought, after going through the majority of one of the halls and enjoying looking at all the traders, I mean, they had the Horns of Odin there, which I didn't expect, which is a company, Viking.
Oh, was that the Viking Horn people?
No, they had the Viking Horn people were selling all the Viking horns. You saw them, and then the Horns of Odin sell mead. They had a massive mead stand.
Oh, right.
I wasn't expected to walk down one of those lanes and then find this massive.
That
Viking
was a
stand.
point, because I was really surprised that they were actually selling alcohol.
Yeah, people walking around with beers everywhere.
Yeah. I was like, wow.
So that's
trusting.
That goes back to what we were saying. We kind of, excuse my French, cocked up because we didn't take a load of food and drink with us.
Yeah.
Because we thought that if we did, that might not even get through security.
Next time, point of reference, we're taking food.
Meal deals.
Oh, yeah.
So we're really enjoying ourselves, but we did get to that point where it's like, wow, I'm hungry now. And the queues were pretty hefty.
I think because I think by the end of the day, I was kind of hitting that kind of really hungry stage because I'd just been walking, not really stopping for 5 minutes or anything, just literally. Because I did go in with a bit of a mission because I wanted to get a few NECA figures. And funnily enough, it took some searching, but I finally found the ones I wanted.
What did you get?
So, first of all, I'll say first blood, was the ultimate Kessler werewolf NECA figure. From NECA and American Werewolf in London. It is, it's so good. It's massive. It was way bigger than I ever expected. And that led me to then.
You do realise you did yourself out of a Christmas present, because that was on my Christmas list.
I had to get it.
I
went in wanting to get that.
I understand it.
No, NECA figures, they're all over the place. And that then took me back to a previous one I'd actually seen, and now there was only one in the Comic-Con, and that was the Nightmare Demon from American Werewolf in London.
Right, this is from the Nightmare sequence where he's...
It's only a brief scene.
In hospital, and then he imagines his family being attacked by these Nightmare Demons, and then Jenny Agutter gets attacked by one.
Yes.
Okay.
And I had only seen one in passing.
Right.
Because by this point, I hadn't got the ultimate Kessler werewolf, and I was like, I don't really want to get the Nightmare Demon if I don't get the big werewolf.
Yep.
And I got the big werewolf.
Okay.
And then we spent the next half an hour to 45 minutes retracing our steps.
Trying to find
we went round the hall at least twice.
Okay.
Again.
Trying
to re-find this singular NECA figure that was on a table somewhere. And we must have passed it several times. But thankfully, in the end, we finally found it.
Hey!
We finally found it, and it's a really good one.
Wow, fantastic.
And then I went and got another one because I thought, you know what would be cool? Having an Ultimate Kessler werewolf on a shelf fighting the original Wolfman.
Ah, the Long Chaney Jr. Wolfman.
Yes.
And you did?
Yes, and I bought it, and there we are. That's all my savings gone.
Meanwhile, because I was enjoying looking at all the trader stands, and God, there were so many.
So many.
There was a lot of. I was quite impressed on a lot of the handmade stuff as well. There was a lot.
Yeah, all the custom stuff. Yeah, that was very good.
There were some very expensive things, such as they had a 3D scanning booth where you could have
the figures.
A figure of yourself made. I think they had 3 different sizes, and they went like £200, £300. I was like, no, I'm not going to. And they weren't even articulated. So I'm like, oh, no, I'm not going to go for that.
Ouch.
Obviously, 3D scanned and then 3D printed.
Well, I mean, some people do go.
Yeah, it's fine. But
I mean, they look really impressive. Yeah.
But so, while you were off shopping,
while
you were shopping,
collecting,
and with the mind of the podcast in mind, okay, I decided I'm going to go and see other cosplayers.
Okay.
And see if people are generally
got lots of pictures and things.
Yeah. So first one I bumped into was a mimic.
A mimic.
Oh
yeah.
And that's from what's the name of the game that has the mimics in it?
Oh, I'm gonna get shot if I get the name wrong.
This is it's one you and Tony used to play, wasn't it?
Yeah. Dark Souls.
Dark Souls. Yeah, I think it's Dark Souls.
I think so.
Where you got like a treasure chest.
Yeah.
It might have treasure in it, or it's this.
Well, I think it's actually kind of got a wider kind of
base
application because it's also in Dungeons and Dragons and things.
Well, anyway, it was a brilliant costume where this I don't know even if it was a lady or a gent, but it could have been anybody. Just had 2 legs sticking out the bottom of this huge treasure chest that was walking around, and the lid would open. And then a big red tongue would come out, and then these 2 arms would come out because it was grabbing everybody.
Brilliant.
Which was
fantastic.
And then after the mimic, then I found this chap in some fantastic gold armour. But I don't know if you recognise.
I think it's probably from a game along the same lines.
But it's so detailed.
Intricate.
Yeah, and the weapon as well. It's kind of scything.
The dedication to such detailing on the cosplays are really commendable.
And I've got to say, it was very hot. I mean, I was hot in my Jedi outfit.
Yeah, and they're fairly thin.
Yeah, and they're like, they got full armour.
Yeah, I mean, you had people
it's made out of that foam. Most of it's made out of that kind of foam stuff.
But still, that's going to accumulate a lot of heat.
Yeah. And then, on my travels, because I was a Jedi Master, I went past a display of... It was kind of a lesson for people to learn how to do lightsaber fighting.
Oh, I saw that too.
Which was kind of good. Fun for the kids. Kind of odd, but there you go.
Well, I suppose that's coming from the background that obviously we do have an upbringing in sword fighting and martial arts.
I've taught swordsmanship for over near a quarter of a century.
Yeah.
And so the lightsaber fighting is kind of like a lot more stylised. Probably the best way to approach lightsaber fighting, it's not swordsmanship as such, it's more kind of... showy, and also what you do for stage fighting. Stage fighting is...
It's an intricate dance, isn't it?
Yeah. It's. I always say when you've got somebody who is an actor and not a martial artist, and you're trying to teach them to do some stage combat, you've got to take the actor and find that middle ground to make them look like a martial artist. And if you've got a martial artist who's not an actor, you've got to sort of trying to get them to be an actor.
Yeah.
And it's a dance, as you say. And with all stage fighting and choreography, it's there to entertain.
Of course.
And so it's big and it's bold.
If it was a bish bosh done, then it wouldn't be entertained. You would be dissatisfied by that fight.
As a viewer.
Yeah,
exactly. So you need it, and that's kind of the style of the lightsaber fighting, which I was watching.
And of course, it's awesome because you've got the lightsabers, and who doesn't want a lightsaber?
Who doesn't want a lightsaber? In fact, there was a company there, I think they're called Silver Sabers or something like that.
Yeah, everyone was like raving about them.
And so I need to look into that. And then I started meeting some of my fellow Jedi, and we had a lovely couple there. One was with his lightsaber. I don't know whether he was being an Anakin.
Let's have a look. Yeah, I think
it was Anakin and Padme. Wasn't
it?
That's
it.
You know, they were a lovely couple. I just said, "Do you mind if I have a photograph?" Boom, straight in.
But that's the thing. You'd ask people for photographs, and they would ask you, but it would be so friendly. It would always be a yes.
Yes, nobody said, "Oh, no, I'm too busy" or something.
Yeah, and they wouldn't give you a funny look at all. It would be like, "Sure, that'd be great."
And then, of course, I had certain goals. And one of those was Spidey. I had to get a photograph with the Spidey.
That's a Comic-Con classic.
Yeah, he was a great chap, you know, got that. And then we had a Mandalorian literally walk around the corner. So. And if you, well, it is the way. If you look at the photograph that I took, it looks like Grogu has got his eyes fixed on my lightsaber. I think he's going to pickpocket me. You know what I'm saying? But absolutely fantastic costume. So I was spending my time going around there, and then I found some more Jedi. A Jedi and a Jawa.
Wow!
But the Jawa, okay, if you look at the photo closely, they got a gonk droid, but the whole costume, the Jawa's costume and the gonk droid, is all knitted. You know?
Blimey, that must have been warm.
Oh man, it's all knitted.
Crikey,
I don't know who you are,
so intricate.
Who you are, but you were fantastic out there. That Jawa costume.
It's a testament to the fandom, isn't it?
Yeah, testament to the joy it brings everybody. Somebody can be that dedicated to it. And it was after meeting those first few cosplayers, moving around, sort of trying to take in the sights and everything that was going on. Oh man! And it got to the point where it's like, I need to get some food. But before getting some food, we found ourselves next to the signing aisles.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I've obviously been on those aisles where I've been standing behind the desk.
Yes.
Okay. And this time I was walking past. I've got to say, a lot of the people I didn't even recognise who they were. Okay.
Did you recognise anyone?
One person.
Who was it?
Good old Julian Glover.
Yay! Good old Julian Glover.
We love Julian Glover.
We do.
And I felt sorry for him because, bless him, all the other aisles had loads of people in it, and Julian was sitting there looking rather bored by himself.
That was the thing. Again, going back to the Olympia, all that signing kind of stuff kind of goes on the upstairs because it's kind of like a multi-layered thing across two halls. And again, it was a similar sort of thing that he was sitting there by himself, and I was like, you know what? He is a brilliant actor. I'm going to be a bit of a fanboy right now. Yep. I'm going to go over there and make his day. I'm going to cheer him up. Obviously, I did have to pay for a signature, but I got to shake his hand. He was very nice, and I brought a smile to his face. Yeah, and that kind of made the day for me.
And I do recall you saying one thing about that
yes.
He had a lot of photographs to choose from.
Yeah. From all his different appearances in Indiana Jones, Game of Thrones, Doctor Who, several things from Doctor Who. And he was like, oh, you've chosen the only one that doesn't have my face on it. Because it was him playing Scaroth, Last of the Jaggeroth, from the Doctor Who story with Tom Baker called The City of Death, written by Douglas Adams.
So all those photographs of him, and you choose the one photograph that actually doesn't show his face. Bless him. But he's a lovely bloke.
Brilliant.
And for me, he does the most profound rendition of Beowulf.
Oh, yeah. We had to bring that up at some point.
I've got to mention Beowulf. So, my journey will continue, but whereabouts are you at this point?
Ooh. At this point, I'm probably looking for the Nightmare Demon, because that kind of took up most of the time.
Okay.
Or being in the queue to get Jack a pint.
Oh, did Jack actually get a pint?
Jack got a half pint. Because
I don't even know where the bar was.
It was kind of... It was down one of the ends.
Right, okay.
I think.
Okay.
I think it might have been in the arcadey one.
So I saw some upstairs restaurants from a distance, but I did see people walking around with pints.
I don't know. Sometimes you'd walk around and think you're in one place and you're actually in another. I found that referencing the kind of lettering on the walls kind of helps a lot.
Well, there's N8 and things.
Yeah, and then it was like, hang on, I'm sure that Nightmare Demon was in M4, but no, it was in N6, and that was like 3-4 aisles away. So
there we go. Well, at least you got more steps in.
Yeah, that is very true. But I found it. That was the thing.
Right, so I'm going to go a bit more practical now, and it was hungry time.
Hungry time.
I needed some food, and it was like, where on earth? What do you choose to queue up when all the queues are really long? Well, I was a bit...
It's such a selection of things.
Yeah, it was such a selection, but the problem is, because there was such a selection, and there was a lot... Did you notice in one of the halls, there was a lot of independent traders as well? Sort of like rice...
Yeah.
Noodle bars, rice stands.
Things like that, yeah.
But I was basically looking at like the size of the pots that people were eating out of.
As a frame of reference.
And again, they've just paid 15 quid for that. No, I'm not going there. Not going there, because that's the thing. Everybody was a captive audience. You see, and so far my whole experience to that point has been more than I could have wished for. All you gorgeous cosplayers out there, you are absolutely fantastic people. The very eager store holders that are really pleasant as well. You know?
Of course, yeah.
You didn't feel like you were being pressured when you have a look at their stuff, to buy anything. Yeah, that really does. But when it came to the food, it's almost, you felt as if they purposely put the prices up on everything. And so because we were looking, me and Tina were looking up and down the food aisle to say, well, should we try this, should we try that, should we try that? Because the menu prices were so expensive that we didn't want to get something that we would find ultimately we paid money for and we were dissatisfied.
Right, I see what you mean.
So we plomped for something that we recognised and we've had many times before. We just went to Subway. And Subway was chucking the Subways through so fast. It was a tiny little stall, and they probably had 11 people shoulder to shoulder behind that.
Wow.
And when they said, "Do you want it grilled?" Yes. It was like in the grill, door shut, out the door. Was that grilled? It must be a volcanic.
Lightly toasted.
Lightly toasted. I think they just
they scared
it with a bulb. But we bought 2 of those 6-inch Subways.
Yeah.
So you get 2 6-inch Subways and 2 small drinks and a packet of crisps each. That was near as down at 22 quid.
At the event.
At the event, you
wow.
see.
How does that compare, like outside of the event?
Man, I think
street price.
A street price. I think I probably paid buy one get one free for 7 quid in Letchworth, a place like that. So it was like it was pricey.
At time of recording, anyway.
Yeah, it was pricey, but we were hungry, so it's what it was.
But when it came to like the food and that, I am absolutely terrible because I wasn't really fussed when it came to the food aspect of it.
Okay.
Because, again, it being so expensive, I was like, I could spend that money on getting myself something else.
Yeah,
like a figure or something. And considering the price of those was about a good NECA figure, whatever, 40 quid? 40 quid. And then buying a Subway for £22.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, I think I'm going to go for the figure.
At least with the figure, you've always got it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the Subway didn't really hit the spot. That was gone in 3 bites. So we were still hungry. And so first kind of downside of the whole Comic-Con experience was because the food was so expensive in there. Okay, we can get around that because obviously next time if we go down there, we're going to take
supplies.
However, then the second issue came up, and that's seating. I was desperate.
I was talking to my friend at work about this.
Desperate for somewhere to sit, and all the seating, the limited amount of seating was just, people would jump.
It was just like the places, the seating that's always there in the building, but no like
seating.
No.
But you found that like around the edges of the exhibition halls, people would use the outer wall as something to sit on. It's just sit on the floor. Frankly, I didn't want to sit on the floor, and I thought, for the amount of people and the amount of money that the event's taken in, surely they could put benches or something around the outside of the halls.
Was the cloakroom hall where
I never went into it.
People could get changed.
Yeah.
That when we walked past, it seemed like relatively like empty.
Okay.
Like the centre of it, because I think it was probably just like booths scattered around the kind of hall. Maybe that would be a. I just think for such a big, just have a area, a hall of some kind for people to go and sit in.
Yeah, I think because I had a lot of kids there. I don't recall hearing any kids crying.
No,
they were playing up.
No, that's true.
Good as gold. But you had a lot of older people as well. I mean, okay, so I'm in my late 50s.
It was a multi-generational thing.
I need to sit down at some point. And then, so we had our very unexciting lunch that cost us a lot. Still feeling hungry, but I thought, okay, we've done that. I'm going to go out and still see if I can find some more of these lovely cosplayers to chat to. And so off I went. First cosplayer I bump into after lunch, Wonder Woman. I always remember going wah 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 wah.
Maybe that's the original.
Oh, whatever. Anyway, but again, lovely lady. More than happy to have photos taken. And a big hello to you out there if you're listening in. Getting into it because she was changing her hand poses for the old crossed, energy blast.
Wonder Woman power.
That's it.
Type of thing.
And then I surprisingly, being at a Comic-Con, came across Michael Myers taking a breather.
Not Michael Myers, but Michael Myers as in
Halloween.
Halloween, yeah.
And I think he was getting a bit hot in his Michael Myers.
It looks like it. Jeez.
But the mask was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it captures that kind of Captain Kirk look.
Captain Kirk gone wrong look. Yeah. I
always find that fact really funny.
So we had some photos with Michael Myers, and then a really nice chap who was one of the Ghostbusters. Okay,
Yeah.
He dressed up as a Ghostbuster, and luckily he'd found a bench, a space, but he was having problems because he got his proton pack on the back.
Oh, right. Oh, no.
And I just walked past.
That would have been really funny.
I walked past and said, be careful sitting there, you don't want to set that off, do you? And it's like, oh man, a great costume. And he asked me, can I have my photograph taken with you? And I said, yeah. Can I have my photograph taken with you? And, we're doing a podcast and everything. And absolutely diamond geezer, really nice. But by this time, I don't know if you can look in the photograph, I put a box, which he nearly sat on actually. But we'd stopped on our...
Oh, I can see that, just the corner of the picture.
Well, T was still quite hungry, and we come across a donut stand.
Right.
And she said, I've got to eat something else. And she was feeling really quite kind of, I need some sugar.
Sugar.
So, donuts. £10 for 3 donuts, I think it was.
Right.
£10 for 3 donuts.
£10.
Or £15 for 4 donuts. Or something like that. It was definitely £10. Oh, well, actually, I think it was £10 for 2 donuts.
Yeah.
£15 for 4 donuts.
Right, okay.
Okay, that's it. That's what it was.
But these are big donuts.
They were big donuts with like half a bar of chocolate on top.
Like half a big bar of chocolate on
So, okay, we plopped into there. So we decided to...
It's always the sticky food, isn't it?
Buy these donuts, which then, of course... No sooner was Tina halfway through her donut that somebody said, can I take your photographs? Tina's got caramel running off her fingers.
Oh, no.
And it's like, yeah, that's no problem at all, But then my Ghostbusters man, I'd almost forgotten that I'd put the donuts to the left, because we still had 2 donuts left in the box underneath him as he almost sat down.
I wonder why mine was a bit squished. No, I'm joking. Just joking.
But yeah, no, it was great. So he was an absolutely brilliant guy and loved his costume as Ghostbusters. But, as I say, the seating so limited. So we walked into this hall where the Forbidden Planet stand was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And behind that, I think it was kind of like an author's area.
Oh, I think it was the artists.
Right. Well, they had a lot of artists and authors, because there were people doing book signings and stuff.
Course, yeah.
And then we found just behind the Forbidden Planet all these chairs and a chap.
Hello. What's all this then? I think I might partake in that.
Well, so all the chairs were pretty much being used, and there was a camera at the back of the rows of chairs. Yeah. And there was some chap sitting there chatting on the microphone. So we decided, well, let's just stop here for a moment and find out who this was. It turned out it's a guy called Christian Ward, who's a comic artist, famous for lots of different comic books and things. Must admit, being no disrespect to him, I've never heard of him. I didn't know what he's done, okay? But it was a really interesting chap.
What did he talk about?
Well, he was talking about basically his time being a teacher and then going from teaching to becoming a comic book artist, and making that leap where people, when he was at school, they would say, oh, no, that's not a job. Yeah. The usual thing that teachers
I remember getting that.
That's not a job. You can't do that for a living.
Well, actually, I think you find in this modern age, you can.
Yes, you can. So, anyway, so he was having a chat. And then, luckily, 3 people stood up on the back row and walked off. So it's like me and T were like, cheers! So I've got to say...
Just imagine these 2 Jedi characters... Well, not 2 Jedi. Jedi and a resistance fighter.
Resistance fighter.
Just running for these chairs.
So we got there. And, I'm wide. Okay, so I'm taking up like a chair and a half.
Oh, dear.
And Tina's sitting on the other chair. And And then it was just so nice to sit down.
Yeah.
This is
just
what I
take
mean.
the weight off your feet.
This is what I mean. The organisers there, that they really need to have some kind of dedicated seating area, or at least put benches around the outside of the halls where all these people are sitting leaning against the wall. They could put benches in.
That'd be the one improvement I think would really benefit.
But we're sitting there and it's like, this is so comfortable. And then, I'm sorry, Christian, but we both fell asleep.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Did you still have your wallets afterwards?
Yeah, no, I did. So I have a tendency to fall asleep with my hand over my wallet, So no, nobody's going to get to my...
Well, you ain't got any blooming pockets in your Jedi trousers.
I've got my pouch.
Your Jedi pouch.
My Jedi pouch.
Secret Jedi pouch.
And so I nodded off. But then this guy came and said, "Oh, do you mind if I sit down next to you?" But he couldn't really sit on the chair because I'm taking up half the chair because of my shoulders.
So what did you do?
So he was sitting like on half the chair.
Oh, right.
And then another lady came and sat Tina's side. That was when I noticed that Tina was like in full deep sleep. Bless her.
Oh, no.
Chin on the chest. I hope the guy who's chatting at the front doesn't notice that we've been nodding off on the back. But anyway,
I wonder what percentage of the audience was just there to sit down.
Yeah, but it was good. And then I'd woken up by this time, and they went into it was probably I woke up in the questions and answers, the Q&As, and they were asking questions about, can you really make money at it? How do you get into it? Blah, 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 blah. And so, it was really interesting listening to that. So it was nice to have experienced a Q&A from the audience.
That's
side.
something I found quite interesting, because obviously...
However, I was going to just finish off there by just saying
the
sound quality wasn't brilliant.
Well, the audio system?
Yeah, because they had the speakers at the front of the stage, and I was in the back row.
Yeah.
And a lot of noise from the public around, because obviously everybody's milling around.
I was going to mention that as well, because at some point you tried to contact me a few times by phone, and I had my phone on full blast, and it was just completely drowned out by the sound of everyone going around.
Although at the end of the day, Christian Ward's conversation and Q&A session was very interesting, it would have been better if the sound system had been better.
Because, that brings me back to what I was going to say, was the fact that I noticed that they had these Q&A sessions kind of dotted around the place.
Yep.
And then they had a main stage, which
I heard noise coming from there,
which was kind of blocked off. Probably because you had to kind of like book and buy tickets to kind of go and see whatever on earth's going on in there.
That's the thing. I didn't know if our day ticket allowed us to have access to these things.
Not to the main stage ones.
What happens in this?
I think it's like
dedicated,
like our real-time pictures one.
Oh right, okay. So
because we had to go into probably that main stage.
So this is what I mean. I'm not done it from the public side.
You'd have to buy a dedicated ticket to go and see that, or to participate in that as some kind of exclusive benefit.
So really, to go back again, we need to kind of like maybe plan a bit more, because I don't feel I had an absolutely fantastic time there, but I don't feel I experienced probably 50% of what I could have experienced there. I don't know what was going on.
Well, that's the thing. So a lot of people actually go for like the entire weekend almost.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
And that is such a commitment. I don't think I could really do that.
Well, I think that if you either live near enough to be able to jaunt into London, or you have got digs that you can afford.
Well, a lot of people book the hotel that's right next to it.
But I think you've probably got to have a much better understanding of what's going on at the event in full than I.
Probably being a lot more in tune with all the social media and the websites and things.
Yeah. So for a one-off experience on a day, I took it for what it was. But to
great sense of immersion,
become more immersed in it, I think I need to research more of what's going on. Yeah. To get more.
To actually know what there is beyond
just walking around looking at traders' stands and listening to the odd Q&A. But the Q&A with Christian Ward was fine, and then off we went toddling, and I thought I'd ask a few more cosplayers for photos. So we've got this lovely little Darth Maul.
Oh, Darth Maulette.
Yeah, Darth Maulette.
We're gonna call it.
We're gonna call you Darth Maulette if you're listening. Yeah, you were absolutely fantastic. And so we got photographs taken there. And then that's when we bumped into the Batman you mentioned right at the beginning.
Oh, yes.
That was a cool costume, Mr. Batman.
Oh, I'm going to have to go through my pictures now.
We...
Oh, yeah, it was the Wampa. The Wampa as well. Did you see the Wampa?
I saw the Wampa and the...
It was next to the bird from Up.
Right.
Do you remember what that was called? It's like a...
I know the big...
It's not the Ursulum. It's not the Ursulum.
The Ursulum bird is from Carry On Up the Jungle.
Yeah. I can't remember what the name of that bird is from Up.
I know the bird. It was multicoloured.
Kevin?
Did
they call the bird Kevin?
I thought that was the name of Ghidorah's head.
Yeah, it's also the name of Ghidorah's head. Oh dear. And there was that Dalek. A few Dalek things. Chained up Dalek.
From the episode Dalek.
Well,
was that with the episode Dalek? Or
not really.
It's Dalek actually prison.
It's actually looks like a classic Dalek that they've just kind of made custom. And then you got the Emperor Dalek that I was quite impressed with.
Do you know, I didn't see any.
Did you not see the Emperor Dalek?
No. Did I miss the Doctor Who stalls then?
To be honest, I was actually really surprised when it came to Doctor Who there, because obviously we're kind of edging towards the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. And you'd expect that there would be a dedicated Doctor Who kind of stall section, like an official thing going on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure the last time we were there, they had like an escape room or something.
Right.
But no, there didn't seem to be any kind of official Doctor Who presence there.
There was lots of bits and bobs, but they were kind of mixed in with everything else. But I didn't see those being...
There was merchandise, bits and bobs of merchandise, but nothing like a proper official Doctor Who presence.
I do remember going on one stall where I saw a bust of Tom Baker.
Yeah.
And saying, there was a lot of noise going on. Excuse me, how much is that? And he went, it's £19, £19. I said, 19? I was thinking I might get it for you, you see.
Oh, okay.
I thought, 19, 90. What, 90? Yes. I'll leave that then.
Wow.
I wasn't going to buy a bust of Doctor Who for 90 quid.
That was the thing, because I am a bit of a, well, I wouldn't say a Doctor Who fanatic, but...
yeah, let's face it, we both own full-size Daleks.
True. So. True. I was telling somebody about that this morning. And obviously there's lots of Doctor Who things, but I was actually really surprised that there wasn't more of a Doctor Who-y kind of presence there. And then they had some Godzilla stuff that I was actually quite impressed with.
I do remember you mentioning Gigan.
I did mention an Uber Gigan figure. This was by Bandai, and this was not the standard hooked hand Gigan. This was from Godzilla Final Wars 2004.
Ah, the chainsaw arms.
It was Uber Gigan with the chainsaw arms.
Chainsaw,
now, this figure looked amazing, but the price tag was £95, and I'm like...
How big was it?
Same size as the other one, so it would have been in scale.
Right, okay.
And but there was the only one I was like...
Yeah, 95 quid.
God! For considering the... I mean, I like the Bandai stuff, but considering their kind of vacuum...
Yeah, the injection moulded, aren't they?
Yeah, so I'm like, just a bit out of my price range.
Yeah.
And they had lots of kind of rare Godzilla stuff that I was just digging through. I was like, they really do know what they're selling, don't they?
They do. That's
price wise. I was like, they're like, oh yes, this is a limited edition, don't you know? I was like,
yes, I do.
Yeah, I know, and you know too, and that's why the price is so expensive.
Yeah, so I mean. Again, you're going there, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure maybe somewhere around you could get bargains and things. But I think overall, to purchase stuff, you're not, it struck me that it wasn't a place to go to get a bargain. Unless...
NECA figure-wise, they're actually pretty good.
Were they about the normal price then?
To be fair, a lot of the time, NECA figures are kind of between that 40 to... Well, 40 plus mark, shall we say, but it's usually somewhere in between 40 and 50.
Okay, so that was all right.
So basically a base price of about £40 for a NECA figure, like brand new inbox there, then and there. Yeah. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, I think.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
And there was one that I spotted. I was like, I want that, but
do tell.
I have bought this Ultimate Kessler Werewolf, this Nightmare Demon, this. Wolfman. Now there was another Comic-Con I went to. And this was the St Albans Comic-Con. It was a very small event, but there I was last year. I think last September. I bought a RoboCop, a NECA RoboCop, and this is a really cool RoboCop figure. And I was always interested in seeing if I could ever find the Ed 209 NECA figure.
Yes, an Ed 209.
And this is like an electronic one as well, so it makes the noises and does all the growling. Makes probably machine gun noises. Looks really cool.
You have 10 seconds to comply.
And I saw one, and I was like, again, if I was there just to get that, I probably would have got it.
How much?
104.
Yeah.
One-time thing, but because I got the other stuff, I was like,
well, I think
bring it back a bit. Bring it back.
I'm not surprised. We are in a cost of living crisis.
Next time, tell you what. Next time, considering I've got the Ultimate Kessler Werewolf. Next time,
perhaps
I'm gonna have to Keep it in my mind.
My
mind. My wish lists on Amazon or whatever. Save my pennies and see if I can find the ultimate Edge 209 figure.
Okay, you've got a goal.
Yes.
Your goal for next time.
That or a power loader.
There you go. So we finished the day because everything that we've discussed took us from the morning all the way through to, I think we were knocking on about 4 o'clock, and it's like, I think we've just about burnt out now, you know, and it was just so much to see, so much to do. So, and then we got the journey back, which again was great because everybody was in a happy mood, everybody had a great day, and we were trolling on the trains back, and everybody was laughing and giggling and swapping stories and things like that.
Yeah. And I'm sure they were having lots of meets and stuff, like lots of fandoms were having their specific kind of meetups around and about the place.
And if I recall, we finished off on our last part of the train journey with a lovely chap called Chris and his American friend Miranda.
Oh, yes.
Chris and
I recall those. They kind of quizzed me on the NECA figures.
That's right, you know, and they'd obviously been down there. I think it was their second day.
Second day as well.
You know, so it was really nice to basically do that reverse journey out of London and still have...
Do a bit of networking, as they say.
And still have a really nice crew on the train. And then we got back. And then the guard, as we were leaving at High Barn, it was like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. That was really nice to see.
And that kind of rounded the day off.
Because that was the thing, wasn't it? It was kind of a noticeable kind of transition between, like how you're perceived by the public.
Yeah, as Jack said, you know, the further you get away from the Comic-Con, the stranger the looks you get.
Whereas it's the other way around. The closer you get,
you
become part of
the norm,
part of the crowd.
So let's sum up. Okay.
Mentioning Jack, there is a game that me and Jack play when we go to an event like this, a Comic-Con, whatever.
This is news to me.
So every time we kind of go to a Comic-Con, we start to notice what are the people dressed up as.
Yep.
And then you notice trends.
Yeah.
Like a specific character coming up, and you go, it's like, oh, it's a Deadpool. Yeah. Or it's Spider-Man. Or it's it's Fifth Doctor or something.
Yeah, it was
this time
Harley Quinn, the last one I went to.
This time I was actually really surprised because it was a very intricate costume that seemed to just come up again and again and again.
I think I know. Is it going to be the one that I kept seeing as well?
What is it?
These people walking around with chainsaws sticking out their heads.
Yeah, and on their arms. It was Chainsaw Man. I believe it's a comic.
Yeah, I've never seen it before, but you couldn't mistake it because it stuck out.
It was like 6 to 10, probably even more people wandering around with cardboard chainsaws sticking out their heads. And I mean, it's just an amazing costume, and I never would have thought to have really looked for it, but that just seemed to be very prevalent on the day.
That did seem to be the most popular one. As I say, there was loads of the animes, but I wouldn't know who they were to know if I'm looking at the same ones or not.
Yeah, or that's the thing, because obviously some people dress up as specific characters from things, but then others kind of make a more kind of improvised approach where they kind of combine characters or even...
And of course, if you're thinking about...
have characters that their own thing
but of course,
that they've made up.
If you're thinking about going to a Comic-Con, you don't have to dress up at all.
Well, that was the thing. Again, talking to somebody else at work today, they sounded quite interesting because I was talking about it, and they were like kind of questioning whether or not it was a thing that they would enjoy going to. And they asked that very same question, should I dress up? And I was like, you know what? You do not have to dress up at all.
No.
I'd say, if anything, for starters, for your first Comic-Con, don't bother. Go comfortable.
Yeah, if you've got a favourite T-shirt because you're a fan of Star Wars or something, wear that.
Yeah, be commemorative in some way, of course.
If you want, you don't have to be, but if you...
Go comfortable.
Go comfortable.
Take
food.
Have the best day you can.
Take food and drink.
Being as comfortable as you can, because as soon as you're going to get all these highly intricate costumes, and if you're going in full... without any kind of like preparation or something, then you're going to have a horrible time of it.
I was glad that we went in costume.
Yes, yes, very much so.
I liked the interaction side of that. Overall, so if we're going to sort of round this podcast off, overall, it was a glowing success for me.
Yes, I would definitely go again.
I have not experienced that side of the fence, as I say, as a member of the public, and I could see the appeal. Yes, the downsides, you're trapped in there. You are subject to paying the price if you can't take your own food.
You say that, but I'm sure you could actually leave the building and you could come back in because you've got the tickets.
I don't know, and I don't know the facilities outside the building. I've got to be honest.
Because I know a lot of the
what would be great
meets were going on outside.
Yeah, well,
but we never even
got that far.
Kind of got that far.
What would be great is if people want to feedback in the comments.
Yeah,
and let us know. If they've got some tips and tricks. What you need to do is don't eat in there. You need to nip out this entrance and go down there.
Yeah.
There's a burger van or something.
Yeah.
Where you can get a nice dirty burger for £3.
Because again, that was the thing that me and Jack did at Olympia. It was we didn't actually eat there. We would go in on the train, walk to the Olympia, go through all the bits and bobs there, and when we thought we were done for the day, head back to the train station, just opposite the train station to go back to King's Cross or to wherever we were going to go. Yeah. There was this fried chicken place.
Right. Yeah.
I should have. That was really nice.
I should have had a bigger.
We've had it a couple of times.
I should have had a bigger breakfast. That's the point.
I think I had a mini pizza, microwavable mini pizza.
Really, apart from being a captured audience and having to pay the price of not having anything else to eat, the lack of seating was the only downside. Apart from that, it was a blast.
It was an amazing experience.
Every single beautiful person that we met, you were fantastic, guys and girls. You were brilliant.
Yep.
I mean,
amazing.
You couldn't have met a nicer group of people.
And I'd like to think we've actually generated some kind of friendships and linked up with a few people that we now know. Yeah. We now know we can get to know or whatever.
Yeah. So, the circle expands,
as they say. So I think it brings us to that point of the podcast where we are going to do Quote of the Week.
Yes, Quote of the Week. So, we round off with that on each podcast.
Yes. Now, I think, is it going to be like a film reference this time? Because I kind of go to Comic-Cons for these kind of film references and things.
So give us a film quote.
It's got to be a Harry Potter thing, hasn't it?
Okay.
Lumos Nox. That's just a spell.
I would say, if you're going to say, go to Comic-Con.
I solemnly swear I am up to no good.
There we are. And I was going to say, a fitting one would be, stick to your ticket. Harry. But I did have actually a quote for today.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
That's got nothing to do with Comic-Con.
Nothing to do with Comic-Con at all. Okay.
But you're always telling me off for not coming in with a quote.
All right, shoot.
Okay.
Shoot.
So my quote of today is, the happiness in your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts.
Oh.
And that's a quote from Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor. Emperor. Or an emperor, I don't know. But,
it's hot in here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, so hot. Zak's taking this is the first topless podcast we've had. Zak is standing here topless. It's fans only now.
OnlyFans.
Is it? Well,
I haven't got an Okay, just to put it clear, I do not have an OnlyFans.
Yet.
Wait, oh no. Okay, I think we're going to end the podcast there for this week.
Thank you for listening in. You're all wonderful, beautiful people. We had a fantastic time. I hope if you've not been to a Comic-Con that you've learnt something from what we've told you today. And we look forward to going back to another one in the near future.
I'm definitely going to have to go dressed up as Aberforth Dumbledore.
You are going to be Aberforth Dumbledore.
I actually found that they do sell and make an Aberforth Dumbledore wand.
Yeah, well, I've been scratching my head. I thought, what can I dress up as? And I thought, maybe what I should do is go through all the films
and things
that
we've worked on,
that we've worked on, because I've done so many that I've been like off planet and things like Guardians of the Galaxy and everything else.
Yeah,
that I could just take my characters and dress up as those.
That's a great idea.
Although I said that, I thought about my was the planet Kajimi, where I was an alien. And that was a very, very heavy, woolly costume with a face mask.
I mean, it was like a snowy planet, I think.
And I thought, I'd die. I'd die of heat exhaustion. But anyway.
Maybe if it was an outside Comic-Con.
Yeah, maybe. But I thought maybe that's where I should go. Look at roles I've played in the past.
So I'd be a zombie then?
I'll be a zombie. I'll be lots of prisoners. Yeah, I could go for a prisoner from Paddington.
There's no such thing as typecasting.
No. And on that note...
If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe to this channel and comment below any suggestions of topics or activities you'd like to listen to in future episodes. That's a big Aberforthian goodbye from Zak.
So you think you're some kind of Jedi, huh?
Goodbye from Buzz.
Goodbye from Buzz.
There we are. You can find the Now We Know Show podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music and Apple Podcasts. Check out the Zak Wylde Productions social media pages on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, or visit the Zak Wylde Productions website at www.zakwyldeproductions.com. Please get in contact, we'd love to find out how you're listening to us. So get in touch in the comments and don't forget to check out Zak Wylde Productions on Patreon to become an official ZWP patron today.